How do you help a friend, a loved one, a family member, someone you just want to help, new acquaintance maybe? How do you help someone who is suffering? And it could be from mental health, it could be addiction, it could just being lost in life, it could be financial problems, it can be all sorts of ways us as human beings can get a little lost or go to a dark place. 3 steps. Listen, be vulnerable yourself, and then finally, give some direction and accountability. Now, what do I mean by those 3 things? I want to share a story with you that really shaped how I do my work, what I teach people, how I interact. I was one of those people that for a long time, I just thought life was about how tough you were and just do the right thing, like fix it this way. You know, like life could be set like a broken bone. You know, you get the right procedure, you get the right technique, you put it all together, everything's okay. Life's a little bit more complicated than that. So I was teaching a class at a halfway house, and it was one of these situations where this happened to be a group of young women mostly. Most of them had been heroin addicts, and most of them had gone through the system and had been given a choice, you know, go to jail or go to this halfway house. So you had some of them that were there that wanted to get clean, and you had others there that just didn't want to go to jail, and you had others there that were still so caught up in that addiction they didn't know what to think. Now, as I got to know this group of young women that I was with, there was this one in particular. She's really smart, very pretty girl, very young enough that, you know, the ravages of drugs hadn't really taken an impact visually. So to look at her, just seemed like a pretty smart girl. Now, if she had been brought up in a family in a nice neighborhood, when I met her, she would have probably been at college somewhere, and she was tried out in a sorority. But that's not where she grew up. She grew up with a mother who, when she was 13, mom started smoking pot with her. Now, lest you judge, my friend, I promise you, you're 13 and your mom comes home and says, hey, let's smoke some pot, you're doing it. Every one of you watching, you're doing it. And then you start smoking pot with your mom, and then your mom brings home a boyfriend, and mom introduces you to her boyfriend. You're 13, you're 14, you're probably doing the same thing, and now you don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's up, what's down. And a whole bunch of bad things get introduced into your life. And in her case, it was more drugs, it was more men, it was more bad things from her mom. She eventually drops out of high school, keeps using drugs, starts dating a guy older than her, a lot older than her, more drugs. And I meet her after she's arrested, living that lifestyle. Now, I'm still kind of in a mindset like, don't do drugs, drugs bad, that kind of thing. You know, pick yourself up. And we're near the end of my time meeting with these young ladies that we were doing it weekly. And I'm kind of going around the room and I'm asking everybody, you know, now that, because what I did my Ladder Up program, and it was near the end of their stay at this halfway house. And so most of them were going to be getting ready to leave and kind of be on their own. And I'm hoping that they're empowered and excited and have vision for life. And I ask them, you know, what are you going to do? And I come to this young lady, again, super smart, super personable, pretty young woman. Another circumstance, another set of parents, another neighborhood, her future's totally different. And I come to her and she says, well, I'm gonna get out and start using again. Well, that's bad. Why are you gonna do that? And she said, well, haven't you been listening to me? I used drugs with my mom when I was 13. I started sleeping around when I was like 14. I didn't graduate from high school. I'm as white trash as you get. That's who I am. I go, who's going to help me when I get out? She's like, I'd rather die high with people I know than be clean and sober and just white trash and miserable. And she said that to me, and one of the first things that popped in my head was, that's totally logical. That's not illogical. That's not crazy. She's not being irrational. That is a rational statement that she just made to me. And then I realized, unless I was willing to take the time to show her another way, to accept her where she was, the background she had, all the negative things she had learned from her family and friends, all the positive things she hadn't learned from good friends or good family. If I wasn't willing to walk with her and show her another way. What good was I doing? Hell, one could make the argument I was in there talking to them more for me than them. Oh, I feel good. I'm helping people. There's a commitment to helping somebody climb up out of a hole. Okay? If it was easy, they would have already done it. People want to be happy. People want to find peace. People don't want to be a drug addict. People don't want 50 different partners. People don't want to be alone. But what if no one's shown them? Worse, what if someone has shown them another way? In her case, as dramatic as it gets, your own mother teaching you to be a drug addict, teaching you to sell your body. Where are you going to end up? Now, that's an extreme example, but what I learned from that is I learned these three things I introduced earlier. One, no matter how damaged somebody is, if you listen long enough, you'll find out who they are, where they've been, and where they want to go, where they need to go, or they don't know how to go. And most of my time spent with her and those other young women was just listening to them, not trying to have all that right answers or, in a 20-minute conversation, fix their life. I just listened to them. I got to know who they were. In doing that, not only did I learn what I needed to be of help, I think, but also they began to trust me. They learned that I was somebody that would listen, that they could talk to. Secondly, I had to be vulnerable myself. I never said to them, I get it. What do I know about that? What do I know about being a 13-year-old girl? What do I know about being, a young, poor woman? What do I know about being a young, poor woman who uses drugs and uses her body to get, what do I know about that? But what I could say to her is, I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be in a dark place. I know what that's like. And that's why I want to help you. That's why I want to walk with you. When you're vulnerable, it brings the walls down. People get less suspicious and they get more empathetic. They get more willing to talk to you, to tell you what you need to know so you can be in a position to help them. And then lastly, you got to give them direction, and you got to give them accountability, and you got to be willing to walk with them. You got to be willing to go, I'm going to take the time to show you how to get from here to there. And then I'm going to follow up. I'm not just going to say, go do it. I'm going to connect with you. Think how easy it is for all of us. We lose track with old friends. We don't follow up with them. We tell our kids to do something, but we don't check in on them. Our kids leave the house, and all of a sudden they're gone, and we don't follow up with them, and who knows where they go. Million examples of that. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes if you're going to walk with somebody, and if somebody has gone to a dark place. Because if they're in a dark place, they don't want to be there. They want to get out of there. They don't know how. And maybe life has given them some detours. Life has given them some challenges that any of us would have a hard time dealing with. We don't know where anybody has walked. We think we do, but we don't know. So if you have someone you're concerned about right now, or you got someone you're trying to help, and you really want to help them, you don't want to just check the box and go, oh, I help somebody. You want to fundamentally help them. You're going to have to do these three things. You're going to have to take the time to listen to them until they tell you what you need to know and they trust you, and that could take a while. That could be a commitment in itself. Secondly, when they've done that, you got to be vulnerable yourself, and you can kind of do them simultaneously. You'll have moments as they're talking to you, you'll be able to talk to them and share a little bit about yourself, about why you want to help them, about times in your life that have been tough. Not because I get what you're going through, but hey, I've been through stuff, and it would have been a lot easier if I had somebody walking with me. And then lastly, when you've built that trust, when you've built that avenue of communication, that foundation, then you got to talk about nuts and bolts. We're talking checklist city. We're talking write it down and make it mean something. Where do you want to go? How are you going to get there? And I am going to walk with you. That is how you help somebody. It's a commitment. But I promise you this, you do that, you help a couple people, you get to the end of your life, you're not going to have to wonder, did I make a difference? Did I matter to somebody? Because just doing that little process, whether it's with your kids, your spouse, friends, loved ones, somebody at work, you will make a difference in their life. And that connection, when you're having a tough spot, when you're in a dark place, you can look back on that. Not just to take some pride in it and to find some value in it, but also to realize that's what you need to do. You need to find someone to talk to. You need to find someone to be a little empathetic with. You need to find someone to help you find direction and accountability. So here's my challenge to you. There's got to be somebody like that in your life. There's got to be someone you know is struggling in some way. It can be at home. It could be at work. It could be somebody you haven't kept in touch with. And I just want you to start with step number 1. Meet them for coffee. Call them up on the phone. Text them. Email them. I don't care how you do it. But start with this. Listening. Listen to them. It couldn't be simpler. It's how you change a world. It's how you change a life. It's how you get away from all of our culture of arguing and pointing fingers. Just shut up and listen, and you might just change someone's life. I'm Silouan. Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out the next video that I put up. Check out my website, silouan.com, and I hope you and the ones you love find a little peace. I'm out.